quick word on the protests that have captured international headlines for over 2-3 months now. Libya, Syria, Bahrain, Yemen. How do you see this? Does this seem worrying? Because it just creates unrest in the world, and a lot of people are convinced that in these countries, all Muslim countries, there will be greater radicalization and not the Western version of democracy that people expect as a result of this public protest.
You see, the problem is the West has always looked upon the Muslim world from the prism of the Iranian Revolution. They saw in the Iranian Revolution, you know, an anti-West, they got rid of a dictator, and an anti-Western fundamentalist regime came to power, anti-American. But they never understood the dynamics of it. Why did the revolution turn into anti-Americanism? Because the Americans kept backing a cruel dictator right up to the end, not for the benefit of Iranian people. They got rid of a democratically elected Prime Minister, Mossadegh. Instead, they imposed a dictator on top of them. And this dictator killed so many of the people, and the Americans backed him only because there was their man. He was their dictator, so that he would be a puppet who would do whatever they wanted. So no wonder the regime turned anti-Americanism. Now what you're seeing in the Middle East is exactly the same movement. This is in Muslim societies, there's no fight between fundamentalism and liberalism. There is a fight between the status quo and the anti-status quo. People want the same rights, democratic freedoms as the Western countries.
So you're confident that in these countries we will see versions of democracy?
What you're seeing is a desire for the youth of the Middle East wanting a genuine democratic system and are standing up to American puppets, dictators, backed by the Americans, only so that they would do their lackeys who would do their bidding. So unfortunately, this movement, if the Americans oppose it, if they had Obama stood with Hosni Mubarak, you would have been hearing anti-American slogans throughout the Middle East. Because Obama is clever, he learned from history, he backed the democratic movement, there's no anti-Americanism, there's no fundamentalism, there's no extremism. And so it's a surprise for people in the West. But it's because they first misread the situation in the Muslim world. They kept asking me, Imran, where do you stand? Are you a liberal or are you a fundamentalist? I said, I am someone who wants democracy in Pakistan, a genuine democracy, not a sham democracy.
What you're seeing in North Africa and the Middle East, do you see that as worrying for the state of the world, this uncertainty, the further, the further tension between the Muslim world and the Western world?
Absolutely not. This is the best thing that is happening to the Muslim world.
And you think that the UN action on Libya is justified?
Yes and no. Yes, because I'm petrified that Gaddafi is going to slaughter his people. So yes, in that sense. No, in the sense because the Americans should have kept out of it, but then the Americans are the sole power because of their record in Iraq and Afghanistan, which is perceived to be anti-Islamic. So therefore, and then of course the oil factor in it. So therefore, it has slightly helped Gaddafi because the public opinion is firmly with the people of Libya who want to change. I just want to add this sort of little thing about Pakistan. When you have a democratic government, the US should, like its relationship with India, it should align itself with the people of India. It should not align itself with one man like they did with Musharraf and now with Asif Zardari. Similarly, the US should have a relationship with the Muslim world. Why would anyone want to oppose the US? But why do they insist on having these puppets who then go against the interest of their people in support of the US agenda, which is what's happening in the Middle East? I mean, the people are standing with the people of Palestine. But people like Mubarak and these puppets are towing the US line on the Israeli-Palestinian issue. The people of the Middle East, or like most of the world, want to see the rights of the people of Palestine, want a viable Palestinian state, which will lead to world harmony. So in fact, backing dictators does the opposite. it actually fuels fundamentalism and extremism in Muslim world.